It was Mark Twain who said, "The two most important days in your life is the day you were born and the day you find out why." Today on the show Stand Out with Pat, we are talking purpose and identity. How do you connect your purpose with your identity in a tech-driven world? We'll go on a short break, and when I come back, I'll let you in on our guests. Stay tuned. Welcome back. The show is Stand Out with Pat, and today we are dealing with the topic purpose and identity in a tech-driven world. The question is, how do you connect your purpose with your identity? Or should I say, how do you find your purpose and how do you build your personal brand in a tech-driven world? I have with me a very great man in the studio, a man who is a leader, a father to many, a motivational speaker, but not the kind of motivational speaker that will tell you, okay, go and, leave whatever you're doing and jump into the ocean. He is a realist, someone who wants to see young people excel. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming to this studio, Mr. Ubong King. Hello, sir.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Privilege is all mine.
How are you doing?
I'm enjoying myself.
Well, anytime I attend an event and you are one of the speakers, I always leave home with this high, like I'm going to get it all. That confidence, that extra motivation to face my fears, to do it afraid, like the normal cliches we always, hear on the social platform. But hearing you speak, it's a different ballgame. How did you, find yourself? How did you find the inspiration to, and the motivation to want to reach out to young people, as regards purpose and identity, and then personal branding in a tech-driven world?
Okay, first of all, thank you for having me on the show.
You're welcome.
And I always tell people that the only currency that anybody needs is the currency called hope. Once you have hope, you can become anything. If anything takes away hope from you, you are finished. Now, I grew old, so that means that there was a certain point in my life when I was young.
Right.
And I had every challenge every young man will have, even some more than some people had. I lost my father at 13, I was disowned at 19, left University of Calabar with a third class extra year, and I didn't go for NYSC. The first job I ever did was to take care of people's pigs. Got 1,000 naira, because I did agric education, which is definitely not what I wanted to do.
Okay.
So from there I now decided to do security, and I'll tell you why security.
Right.
My father was killed at the age of 39. So my father was my friend, my father was everything. So my plan was to grow up, become a naval officer, learn to use a gun, then go and kill the man that killed my father. Unfortunately, by the time I grew up, the man had died, so I couldn't kill him anymore. So that became where it is. I always tell people that your purpose is always tied to your pain. Anything that pains you, that causes you some sleepless nights, that's what you are called to deal with.
So would you say that's one of the ways you can discover?
Yes, pain is the down payment for gain. Pain is what keeps you awake. Pain is what you are called to solve. It always has something. And when that happened, I didn't want to see anybody lose his father or lose any item again. So I started my passion in a church, where I served as a security guard for 3 years without salary. So the fact that I can see somebody's car safe, I can see him go out and come back in, that's good for me. And I wasn't paid, so every maybe 10 naira, 20 naira, once I have 30 naira, I'm okay. I can buy food. I was squatting in a friend's house, so again, I did not have accommodation. I did not have anything. I squatted with people. But what I did was that because I loved security, it became something I was interested in. Right. I now had to go an extra mile by looking for any security-related magazine to read. I kept reading it. If I see any new thing, I'll take it. I had a note, and I kept writing it. The more I kept reading it, the more I became interested. And whatever you eat, and you continually eat, will eventually eat you up. So by the time I knew what's happening, security had taken over me. And there I started seeing that there was technology in security.
Right.
So I moved from the conventional guard services to technological security, whereby you use telemetry system, panic button. Somebody has a challenge, press a button, in 10 minutes, they'll be there. So I longed to see it. I saw remote monitoring, whereby somebody is far in another state, right, and you can see the person from here. So that drove me, because that was the future.
Right.
So I started looking more into it, and it kept attracting me deeper into it. So security was my passion.
So at what point did you say, okay, now this is my passion, let me start a business? And why, when did you start your company, your security company now? Take us through that journey, the name, how you know, got your protocols together, your staffing, and what you do with your company at the moment.
Okay. My own company started in 2009.
Right.
Before then, I spent 15 years working for other people, and I never applied to work anywhere. Passion has a way of attracting people to you. So that's how I got into different companies that I did. The first company I worked with, passion came out of there. The second company, technology came out. The third one, I was able to learn the business of security. Then the fourth one, corporate governance. When I had these 4 items in, I could go and start. And I started my company from my bedroom.
Really?
And yes, from my bedroom, with a table, a chair, a laptop, and the most important thing was a target.
A target?
Yes, a target. My target was to make 100 million.
Oh,
yes,
right from your
from get-go.
Bedroom?
Yes, from my bedroom.
So have you made it?
I've passed it since.
Okay, so
now,
how did you make it?
You see, your target determines your direction. Your direction determines your association.
Okay.
Now, my target was 100 million. Because that was my target, I could not make that kind of money doing guards. I could make it doing maritime security. So I joined the maritime community on LinkedIn. Okay. So that's when technology, about understanding what's happening in the world. So when people were talking about the Gulf of Guinea, I didn't really understand. And I stayed there, but whenever they talked about Nigeria, Ghana, anywhere in West Africa, I knew I would answer. And if they asked specific questions on Nigeria, Abuja, Port Harcourt, Lagos, yes. So I now became the go-to man on any information they needed about Nigeria. On one of those days, somebody calls me and says, King, can you provide security from Djibouti to Mombasa? And I didn't know where Djibouti.
Like that.
Yes, because you are now a member of a family. Your name future. So I always tell people, don't keep quiet. Always talk. People begin to, the more you talk, people begin to know who you are and what you do. So they gave me a platform that I should provide security from Djibouti to Mombasa. I couldn't do it, so I called somebody in Kenya. Can you do the transaction? I said, yes, but I said, you'll pay me my brokerage fee. And the guy now said, okay, fine. Within 48 hours of that discussion, the guys in Seychelles transferred $150,000 to the man.
Just like that?
Just like that. Because they had signed, everything was electronic. You send in your contract, your BIMCO, you sign a BIMCO digitally. So it wasn't that you're going to meet somebody, discuss anything, nothing like that. It's digital discussion. You finish, you do your electronic signature, everything is gone, you sign the contract, good to go. So they transferred the money to him. So he called me and said, King, let me transfer your 10%, which is $15,000. I said, okay, no problem. So I picked my calculator on Nokia 3310, and I calculated $150,000 times 150 naira per dollar. And my phone said error, error, error. It couldn't calculate that kind of money. So it was then.
Error.
Yes, it was my aha moment that within 24 hours, 22.5 million naira passed my head because I wasn't prepared. So I said, whatever is in this industry, I'm going to spend my time digging it. And trust me, it took me time, but I found my way around it. So I've become one of the people that actually are active in maritime space in Nigeria.
Wow, well done, sir. That's really very insightful. So let's talk about, now you are a security personnel, and somehow you've been able to kind of evolved into a public speaker in such that young people want to see you, hear you, watch you at events. They want to listen to your podcast and everything. They want to understand what it means to pursue purpose, and be a brand, a personal brand on the digital space. How were you able to make that switch? How have you been able to use your platform to push that?
Okay, let me say it like this. You know, because of my background in security, because of my pain, so my pain could identify with a lot of people's pain. My background could also see the local threats around. The indices do not look very nice when you look at Nigeria. And that's because you have over 135 million youth under 45.
Right.
Now, the crime rate says that between 16 to 25 are the highest number of criminals in the country. And those are young people. So why would they be criminals if they have an alternative? So my plan was to go into the system and begin to talk to young people that rather than go into crime, go into productivity. Because all our young people need is direction. They have the motivation, but just give them the hope and show them in what place. Everybody has opportunity. And if we take time to invest that mentorship with them, they become better. Now, because I have that history, I know the pain they're feeling. So I'm not coming there to come and tell you 4 steps to winning, 6 steps to this. If you have done something, this is what you do now. Spend 1 hour of your day, read this topic. And
focus on one thing.
Yes, focus on it. The more you read, the more, because I ate security. I would go and buy a magazine from Ojo Elegba, buy a magazine from the CMS, and I read it. So that became my strategy. Now, to get to the young man who is 20 years old, I asked myself a question. If I want to pass a message to a young man who is 20 years old, what medium would be the best? Should I use his smartphone or iPad or newspaper? He will use his phone. A 25-year-old phone, 30-year-old phone, 35, phone and maybe iPad, 40-year-old phone, iPad, 45 is when you go phone, iPad, and newspaper. So if I want to pass a message to a young person, which is in my area of interest, then I need to get him on his phone. What do I find out? On Instagram, on Facebook, and so I concentrated my message, no matter how hard, in that medium. So once you touch one person, it grows. How do you eat an elephant? One piece at a time. So I kept hitting them. I know the law, that it is repetition. The more I keep doing it, it will begin to change their mindset. And a lot is happening.
Wow. I'm happy to hear that. So let's talk about the youths now, you know, not online, you know, an average young person out there. There's probably someone out there who doesn't seem to have some sort of purpose. Because finding your purpose in life goes beyond you saying, okay, now I've graduated, I'm going to start a job and everything. How would you define purpose? I know you said that purpose emanates from pain. That if you can connect your pain, and it comes with you identifying your pain. And some people have been through so much pain, but they still do not know how to turn that pain to power or purpose. How would you, say, okay, you can go about it this way, that way? I'm not trying to say you should be motivational about it. Just, share your thoughts, maybe from your experience.
Being practical. First, I tell people that if you don't know what your purpose is, just identify somebody that has found his purpose. And look at him, just keep following him. When you follow him, you will learn how he finds his purpose, how he stays in his purpose. You'll find yours.
But a lot of young people these days, I don't think they're patient enough to
That is,
follow.
you say, so if you are not ready to pay that price, then the consequences are inevitable. There's no way a woman can get pregnant and give birth in 1 month. You have to follow the 9-month process.
So what are the qualities you think that an average person must have to follow or to find their purpose?
The first and most important is to accept that, yes, I want to find my purpose.
Okay.
Now, that's one. Number two, there's no school of purpose. So what area? Put 3 areas of interest. Look for somebody who has values, who has it, and then stick to learning from him. Every time you submit, you look at somebody as a mentor. Follow that person. Once you begin to achieve or accept what that person is doing, you'll find somebody better. Right. You move to the next person.
So you just keep
moving. Yes. As you keep moving higher, you have improved.
Right.
And as you improve, you get better. I have a case whereby a young man, it's not really a young man, it's almost my age mate. He's had a very serious family issue, and he comes to me crying every day. And I said, don't do that. What I want you to do is commit to me 1 hour every day. Go and watch this video every day. Now, this is 3 months. I'm the one following him because he has found hope. He has found where he's going to, and he's running. And I say, look, when you run like that, stop and take stock of where you are. What do you need? Where do you need to go to? Then quickly redirect, because the journey to success is on Failure Avenue.
What did you say?
The journey to success is along Failure Avenue.
Failure
Avenue. Yes.
Okay.
So along the way you make mistakes. So you need to come back and do an audit of yourself. And there is no half-done success. If premature success is deadly. So it's not the one you wake up at the age of 18 and say you're going to. You will start learning. Then you get people that are succeeding. You follow them. You learn from mentors, their strengths and their weaknesses. So you know what not to do.
Wow, I'm already feeling all purposeful. The show is Standout with Pat. We'll go on a short break. Ubong King right here. Welcome back, great one. The show is still Stand Out with Pat. And in the studio, I have with me Ubong King. And we're talking purpose, identity, and personal branding in a tech-driven world. Mr. Ubong.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for, everything you said before we went on that break. I loved it, and I feel so inspired, and I think it's just good when we have leaders who are ready to go out there and express their life, tell their stories, to inspire more young people, to face their fears and pursue purpose. Now, I want to digress a little bit back to your career in security business. I want you to share your thoughts about the security situation in Nigeria, or should I say in Africa at the moment. Do you think there are lapses? And if there are lapses, what would you advise that the government do?
Okay, to answer this question, I like to be a bit full of numbers. Good. So, because I'm a mathematician, I like maths.
Statistics.
Yes. So the statistics in Nigeria are always very disturbing. It says that there are 180 million Nigerians. Before
over now.
Yes, the current UN says 201. But let's leave the 180 million.
Yeah.
Now, the report says that some 5% of these people are youth under 45, and that is 135 million people. Now, the Presidential Committee report on job creation states that 40% of these people cannot be employed because they don't have skill. Now, when you put percentage, it doesn't do justice to it. So if you put numbers, 40% means 62.5 million youth cannot be employed. Now, if 62.5 million youth cannot be employed, roaming the street, that's a challenge. They have to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They must eat. Now, hunger itself has the way of driving somebody into positive or negative vices, depending on the values the person has put. Now, JAMB, last year, they did 1.7 million people that did JAMB for only 850,000 slots. So 950,000 people will not enter school. Now, NYSA says they can only accommodate 300,000 people. So what happens to 550,000 people? So if you have 550,000 people who cannot get, and once they go into NYSC, or they have to wait for batch 1, batch 2, batch 3, they forget everything they have done for 4 years.
Okay, so how does that relate
Good.
to
Now,
security?
so where it is now is that you now have 62 million people who cannot be employed, who will now who are hungry, looking for any opportunity to eat. And those people get involved in vices such as Yahoo, gets involved in fraud, gets involved in kidnap and ransom, get involved in every single thing. So that is where they now feed on. Because social media, in quote, has begun to show somebody makes maybe 200, 300,000. He flanks it. So this is what you feed your eyes on. And when you feed it now, you believe that, okay, you see your mother has kept 50,000 naira there. You see a young man with 50,000 naira. What do? You carry that money so that you feel, because what happens to your face, your eyes, which is a gate, forms the kind of decisions you make.
Right.
Now, so when that happens, and I said before, the average age of criminals now is 16 to 25. 16 to 25. So when you have more 16 to 25-year-old people committing crime, it only grows. And to recruit younger people is very easy, because they want to be among. They go to, yes, they want to be able to do something.
Involved.
Yes. Once you enter a car, you drink some bottles of drinks, you're already in there. Because once one person has entered, all of you have entered. So if you ask me what the government should do, the government should carry out a security orientation. And when I say security, begin to tell what the new crimes are. The new crimes are not the one that armed robbers, it's a small one. Cyber crimes. Cyber crimes. They can shut down a whole country with cyber crime. Very easy. How come you have all these money launderers and MMM or whatever? They took advantage of our poverty and they moved money out of this country by telling people, you do this and go hunger.
And that's really rampant.
Yes.
These days.
You have different types all over.
They just
yes.
send you some strange
yes.
DMs, and if you are a gluttony
yes.
or you're some sort of someone who is looking for an overnight miracle, you just jump into that.
But if they now begin to teach you and allow people, the corporate society who are mentors, it's another good way. Another area that has fed criminality, which one is politics.
Right.
Now, politicians come to do their campaigns once in 4 years to enter office, and they mobilize the young people, give them T-shirts, give them face scarves, give them rice. Yes, and matches. Yes, 2,000 naira. So when they give you 2,000 naira, 4 years down the line, they come back with 2,000 naira. Now, what it means is that the value of somebody per year is 500 naira. Now, if the value of somebody is 500 naira, in a month, your value is 41 naira, 69 kobo. Now, in 1 day, your value is 1 naira, 39 kobo only. So when you put that man in power, that man does not know what policies to use to protect your country. You now have rogue lions coming into the country, and I call them rogue lions because once a country is not defended by policy, you have other countrymen coming into the country and see that you are not sure of the privacy of your Nollywood or your intellectual property. So you now have countries, citizens of another country coming here. They will take a house in maybe Lekki and then put equipment and then pirate anything that has come out and sell it. So what somebody has done for over 1 year of his life, he cannot make money because somebody has put it on the disc for 30 naira and sells it to them for 80 naira, and they hawk it on the road for 150 naira.
Okay, so you've focused somehow. I feel you focused on young people now who eventually become criminals if there are no jobs, and you've also been able to quote some statistics. Can you drive home your point, focusing on the security officials in the public sector, like the police, this DSS, the SARS? Because I remember a time when I was in the UK, I think it was towards late last year, and when you hear that a lot of young people are being killed, okay, and they're being killed unjustly, and of course security officials will say that they are doing their job, okay. Is it all the time that I mean, are they always right when such things happen? When they just harass young people who are, like there was someone who was probably going in his car and then they just pull him up. Oh, what do you carry? When I see your gun, and then they think he's trying to bring out a gun and then they just shoot him. So we hear stories like that around, especially, with young people who have cars. Would security personnel assume that they are Yahoo boys and everything? How would you? How can we cop that? How can we control that so that our young people can move around freely? Because really, it's not all the successful looking youth who are criminals. Are criminals. Yeah, no. Sure.
It's sad because we don't expect changes. We believe that anybody that is successful is somebody that has worked for over 40 years. Times have changed. Yes. Times have changed. Mark Zuckerberg is 34 years old and is the fourth richest person in the world. Now, our young people are very brainy. They are also in touch with what globalization is doing. And a lot of them are applying themselves and are making this money for themselves. I know many young people. Now, when you have a young man who is up to date and you have a security officer who is out of date, there's a problem. Now, these people that are out of date, most of the time, they are recruited from the wrong of people who could not be employed. So those ones now look for a way to go and join the police, immigration, customs. These are people that were not qualified to get jobs. Now, when you train somebody who is not qualified to get a job, you only complicate the system. Now, when they get into the system, they are trained maybe once in a while. So those ones, they now look for, okay, and if you check their take-home, their salary, their things, you'll find that they are not even making money. So they have to make money through other sources. Paul Kagame, the president of Rwanda, came into a country in Africa. He refused to disclose the country. And when he landed, they wanted to refuel his plane. So he came out to work. He was praying nobody identified him. And a policeman saw him and he beckoned on him to come, that he wanted his pen. So he went into his plane, got some money from the pilot and gave to this man. And when he did that, he went back to his country. With that thought, he said, no. If that is going to happen, then let us increase the funding for our security officers. So our security officer will not beg anybody. Because once they begin to beg, they've compromised the territorial integrity of that country. Right. How do you beg a president, even if you know or don't know, for money? A policeman, that is the image of your country. And Nigeria is no different. Whether it's police, SSS, immigration, whatever parastatal, all of them are guilty of the same thing, especially when you don't cultivate the young ones. Look at where they sleep. What kind of insurance, what kind of things do their wives go through? I really salute a lot of security officers because they stick their life. But if you don't defend them, how do they defend the country?
It's a lot. The show is still Standout with Pat, and we'll be back after this break. Welcome back. The show is still Standout with Pat, and I still have with me my able guest, Mr. Ubong King, the chairman of Protection Plus Services Limited, a big security company in Lagos with headquarters in major places in Africa. Am I right, sir?
Yes, you
are. Before we went on that break, you were talking about, security situation in Nigeria with reference to security officials and, of course, young Nigerians who are unemployed. Can you bring that to a close? Okay.
I think right now we need to begin to catch up with the world. And every young person has a talent and should express themselves. And there are three ways of expressing themselves, either by video, audio, or written. If you can write a blog and talk your story. Keep telling your story. People want to see what is happening. If you are gifted in talking about shoes, concentrate there. People in Milan will be interested. Yes, just go there. If you like video, get your phone, do a YouTube, post it. It will blow. But sir, it's not everyone who is tech savvy, or it's not everyone who wants to go. If you are not tech savvy, you cannot be relevant in these times. The robots are coming, so you have to catch up. Like I said, we need to catch up. How are we using ATM cards now? People are not using cash anymore. ATM cards have entered, so we cannot stop and say ATM cards stop. So that we use. We can't do that. We have to upgrade. I have to go to the next level. So any young man, I think the first and major investment they should do is to get a smartphone. And you get a smartphone, understand how to use Facebook, understand how to use Twitter, understand how to use YouTube, understand how to use Instagram, understand how to use every social media platform to be able to give yourself a voice. Because there are 7 billion people that you can reach. Staying in your small, confined place is not taking you anywhere. You complain for the rest of your life. So you're indirectly saying that if you found your purpose and your identity, one of the ways to boost it is to actually be social media relevant. Yes, and make the mistakes. You make the mistake, but you become better every day. Okay, thank you very much, sir. Thank you. I like the fact that you've been able to connect, the whole purpose talk with your job as a security personnel. And when I was going through your profile, I realized that you've had 15 years in marriage already, or more. More. So let's talk about nurturing and protection of loved ones as a security person. How would you advise men out there to,
embrace that aspect of, being there for their loved ones?
First of all, it's good to help your family understand who you are and what your responsibility is to the society. Because first, if you're a security officer, you know that you are first an enemy of people that are assailants.
Right.
Now, so you need to plan what is the safety procedure and the emergency procedure. The phone numbers they can call, what is the emergency drill in case of anything. If somebody asks them this question, what they should answer and everything. At a certain point, I always differentiate my life from my family's life so as to keep them in safety. But after a while, I grew past that level and I carry my family along in everything. And I always tell them that, look, say, as somebody at my level and in the industry, if anything happens to me, it not only affects you, it affects everything. So you also don't be careless because it has a ripple effect. So when I keep doing that every other time, so it sinks in. And because if anything happens, not only will it compromise me, it will compromise everything I've ever stood for.
Good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Before you leave on the show, I want you to assume that motivational role. Like, just assume that you are in that conference, that big conference, because that's what you're used to, I know. And you have to look at this set of young people, probably in a room of about 1,000 youth. What would you tell them?
I won't talk to 1,000 youth. I only talk to one person.
Okay.
One person, and that person is you. And I tell you that anybody that has laughed at you, the person laughed too soon. Nobody has the right to judge you. Nobody has the right to put you down. If you can get up in the morning, you can make it. All you need to do is to decide for yourself what you want to do. Put down 3 things. I want to go here. I want to see this. I want to call that. Achieve that one that day. Clap for yourself. The next day, set the goals higher. Increase it, and you become it. The day you become successful, it will be like a walk in the park. Success is a process. It's not a day's thing. And I know that you can make it. And if anybody asks you, tell them I said the only way to get out of trouble is to enter that trouble.
If you didn't say that, I would have been surprised. Thank you very much, sir,
Thank
for
you.
being on the show. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate you. Well done.
Thank you.
And I want to present you with this signature cup. It says "Stand Out with Pat," and I hope that as you use it, you continue to stand out in your work.
I intend to use it today.
Yes, please, for anything. And this is my first book, Life of a Media Girl. It's about women in the spotlight. It's about the media industry in Africa, or should I say Nigeria. So I've shared some tips about my journey in the media. I hope you read it. I'll look out for your review.
Very, very, I see it also has a lot of pictures. And I think what I would like you to do is, because when I see books like this, there's a lot of content.
Right.
Please try and, bring out stories of each chapter. It's not everybody that likes to read. So they can also have an audio version. They can also have a video version.
Right.
And when you do that, let me know.
I'll let you know.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Much.
I got my book. Got my book. Thank you.
Viewers, Mr. Ubong King in the studio, he's been talking, he's talked to us so much about security, he talked about purpose and personal branding in a tech-driven world. I hope you've been inspired. I hope you've learned a lot, because I have learned. He's that kind of person that just gets you in that mood. It just makes you think about your purpose and what you really want to do in life. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, just understand that it is okay to take your time. It is okay to do it afraid. It is okay to take it one step at a time, knowing that success is not a destination, it is a process. And on that note, I want to say a big thanks to you for being a part of the show, Stand Out with Pat. My name is Pat Obilo. I love you. Bye for now.